confidence in what we hope for. Now faith is confidence. Now faith is confidence in what we hope for. An assurance about what we do not see. An assurance about what we do not see. H-E-B-R-E-W-S. Though I can't see the wind, I see what it does. 11 verse 1. H-E-B-R-E-W-S. Though I can't see our God, I see what he does. 11 verse 1. Now faith is confidence. Now faith is confidence in what we hope for. Now faith is confidence. Now faith is confidence in what we hope for. An assurance about what we do not see. An assurance about what we do not see. H-E-B-R-E-W-S. Though I can't see the wind, I see what it does. 11 verse 1. H-E-B-R-E-W-S. Though I can't see our God, I see what he does. 11 verse 1. H-E-B-R-E-W-S. Though I can't see the wind, I see what it does. 11 verse 1. H-E-B-R-E-W-S. Though I can't see our God, I see what he does. 11 verse 1.
Archibald, sorry I'm late. It took me longer to get ready than I expected.
No worries, Anna. Do you think I've been keeping track of how many times you've been late or something?
Of course not.
You've been late 48 times.
Well, that's not what I was expecting.
And due to your incessant tardiness, I have come up with another invention.
What is this invention of yours?
It speeds up how quickly it takes for you to get ready. Here, sit down and take this pill.
Well, here goes nothing. Minty.
Interesting assessment. Anyways, time to test it out.
Hey, what was that for?
That is your new shower. No need to spend, now you are all clean. There's no need to spend 10 minutes showering.
I'm not clean. I'm just wet, Archibald.
Here, now let's try this. Sit still. Presto! Your hair is brushed.
No, it isn't. It's just stuck.
But Anna, that's all that's needed. No more worrying about 2 minutes of brushing your hair each day.
I don't think this is working. Why'd I volunteer for this?
You must be hungry. Here's your dinner. I made you a salad.
That isn't going to fill me up, but whatever.
You seem a little grumpy. Here. Go to sleep.
I'm not tired.
Well, even though that may have been a 2-second nap, it gave you 4 hours of rest.
I don't think so, Archibald.
Well, what do you think of my new invention?
I think that I'm wet, my hair is a mess, I probably have carrot stuck in my teeth, and I can't get up. Now I have to go home and get ready all over again.
I'm sorry, Anna. I don't know what happened.
Don't worry. It was a great idea.
Wait a minute. Uh-oh, Anna. I'm sorry. I mixed up the pill with my mints. Will you forgive me?
Of course I will, Archibald.
Thanks, Anna. Let's get up and dance.
God made him who had no sin to be sin for us. God made him who had no sin to be sin for us, so that in him we might become, so that in him we might become the righteousness of God, 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 the righteousness of God. God made him who had no sin to be sin for us. God made him who had no sin to be sin for us, so that in him we might become, so that in him we might become the righteousness of God, 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 the righteousness of God.
Thank you so much for that. So, on day 1, we learned about faith. We worked on an egg drop that was similar to how we made a car. We met Noah and learned about him building an ark, even though he didn't live near any water. And we saw that a pencil floated. Well, I now forget the other 2 things. A hard-boiled egg and some jam sank. And our quote from 2 Corinthians, our Bible verse, from 2 Corinthians 5:21 is, God made him who had no sin to be sin for us, so that in him we might become the righteousness of God. And yesterday, for day 2, we made, with spaghetti and mini marshmallows, some pyramids. And we met Deborah, the female judge, who sat under a palm tree and helped the people. And in Sink or Float, we had a apple float, a sponge float, and a maple syrup that sank. And our Bible verse was from John 3, verse 8. There's a bit of some confusion yesterday. And it is, the wind blows wherever it pleases. You hear its sound, but you cannot tell where it comes from or where it is going. So it is with everyone born of the Spirit. So thank you for that. Now I heard some good God sightings of the last day. I got that our beaker flask scientific instrument is needing lots to be filled up. So please make sure to keep sending them to us if you see any God sightings before tomorrow night. But I heard that some of you, I don't have any pom-poms with me. I had my mints and pills instead. I have heard some of you went to the beach and had a wonderful day, while others of you had a lovely day in your pool, and some of you just enjoyed the break in the heat and the nice breeze that we got. All wonderful ways to have spent your days, and all wonderful God sightings. So today, we are talking about influence. Because Jesus wants us to shine in dark places. The Bible teaches that you are the light of the world, a town built on a hill that cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on a stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. God is light, and in him there is no darkness. God brought light into the world and filled us all with it. But when people sin or do things that God doesn't like, it spreads darkness instead of this light. So this is the verdict, that light has come into the world, but people loved darkness instead of light. But God wanted to rescue us. He wants to be with us. So he sent Jesus, who shared, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but he will have the light of life. So now we're given that light. We are to let it shine into the world. So, what are some ways that you can let your light shine so that others can see? It's doing the good deeds that God wants us to do. Anastasia, do you know any good deeds that you could do?
Maybe, like I said, doing chores, like for God sighting.
Doing chores, helping out around the house, helping a friend. Maybe when we go back to school, sitting with someone who doesn't have anyone to sit with to eat when it's safe. Maybe reaching out to those people right now.
Yes. Yeah, like giving somebody a phone call maybe you haven't talked to in a long time, or
Exactly. Yeah. Calling different people to talk to them and check on them. That's really big right now. And it goes a long way. When we let our light shine, we help others find their way through the darkness. And our verse today comes from Matthew 5:16, and it's, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify our Father in heaven. Your Father, in heaven. He is our Father, though. All right, so we're going to get up and dance again. So we're dancing about you are the light of the world. So it goes, you are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp, like a matchbook for those who don't know, and put it under a bowl. We repeat that, and then we go, instead they put it on a stand. We're standing tall, and it gives light. Yeah, it gives light. That's our light shining. And then our light goes to everyone in the house. We got to point everybody out. And there's a really fun part. In the same way, we just do some fist bumping. And then we let our light shine before others. So we show all of the people, and so they can see our good deeds. Just look around, look for those good deeds. And glorify your Father in heaven. We're raising the roof, having a good party. All right? You think they got it?
Yeah.
We'll find out.
You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand and it gives light. Yeah, it gives light. Instead, they put it on its stand and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine. Let your light shine before others that they may see your good deeds. See your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand and it gives light. Yeah, it gives light. Instead, they put it on its stand and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine. Let your light shine before others that they may see your good deeds. See your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. Let your light shine. Let your light shine before others that they may see your good deeds. See your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven.
Sorry, I was jumping so much, I lost my tic-tacs. That was some good dancing. So we just have some quick reminders before we get going into our other activities. Remember that you can see each other and you can see us, hopefully. I don't think we're having technical difficulties tonight, but we unfortunately cannot quite see you. We do have Alchemy Allen, I keep forgetting to point him out in the back, who can see you and is interacting with you in the chat for anything you need, and he is providing us feedback. Also, we're going to play that song just like we did last night in between each station. So you have time to get what you need or clean up from the last station, but also it's a great time to go to the bathroom or get a drink of water. And please take pictures, or even some people sent videos last night. We love seeing those. So please take pictures and videos of what you're doing at home and send them to our email, fccoevbs2020@gmail.com. Now, just to remind you of what we're doing tonight, we have our scientific experiment coming up with Cylinder Sue and Eyedropper Debbie. Then we have our Bible adventure with Volumetric Vicky. And we wrap up, well, before we wrap up, we have Sink or Float with Syringe Sarah. And then Anastasia and I will be back to wrap up at the end of the night. So thank you so much.
You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand and it gives light. Yeah, it gives light. Instead, they put it on its stand and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine. Let your light shine before others that they may see your good deeds. See your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand and it gives light. Yeah, it gives light. Instead, they put it on its stand and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine. Let your light shine before others that they may see your good deeds. See your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. Let your light shine. Let your light shine before others that they may see your good deeds. See your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven.
Hello and welcome back. How's everybody doing tonight? Thank you so much for sending us your photos and videos. We really enjoyed seeing you working and being creative. I saw you wearing your cubic triangles. Who else? Gabriella. I saw you working too. How was your tower? How high was it? How about Violet and Hannah? How many marshmallows did you eat last night? And Genevieve, are you with us tonight? Did you make a new design with the remaining materials? Keep sending those pictures and chats. We'd love to hear from you.
So tonight we're going to be doing our Float Your Boat experiment. I hope you guys are excited, and if you get a little wet, might cool you off a little bit. Oh, I wasn't meaning literally.
Well, we usually have a water night and water games at VBS, so I thought it might be a little fun.
Here, you missed a spot. So we wanted to talk about a boat. And let me put my mask on since we'll be... Okay. So here is your boat, or you might have hopefully something at home, some of you, or when you'll be making your boat with your aluminum foil, you're going to be thinking about the parts of a boat. So one part of the boat is the bottom, and the bottom is called the hull. And the hull, what do you think the purpose of the hull is for? The bottom of the boat is to hold people or cargo. So it's very important to think about the size of the hull. So also the other part of the boat is the gunwale. It is the sides of the boat, and what do you think the purpose of the sides are? The sides help hold the water out, help hold the people in, and it protects the boat and helps also keep the water out. So that's parts of the boat. So, and let's see. And we're talking about how a boat might float or other objects, how they float. Well, there's a very scientific word that we use for this. It's called buoyancy. When you put an object in water, I don't know if you can see, I'm going to push the boat down, and when I push the boat down, the water should rise. Whoop, a little bit too hard. The boat's not quite big enough. But when you push the boat down, the water goes up. It's moving the water out of the way, and it's displacing the water. If the object is heavier than the water that's pushed aside, then it will sink. If the object is lighter than the water, then it will float. So right now, we'll try this boat by itself. Whoop, actually is a little tippy. This is from our lovely neighbors, and they donated this boat for us to use tonight. And it's a little tippy, but that's okay. So,
Something to learn, though.
yes.
When you're designing your boat, you need to make a hull that's not going to tip.
Yep. So we'll put this aside. And what else are we going to talk about? So,
I think it's also helpful to think about why boats were built. Long ago, people built boats to make life easier, to help with travel. They were on one side of the riverbank and they wanted to get to the other side of the riverbank. So the first people who designed boats, they designed something called a dugout. I need to fix my... which were just logs that were dug out so that they could travel across the river. So boats make life easier.
and some of the first people that in America that might have used boats were
The Native Americans.
Native Americans.
Ooh.
And I think they probably used them maybe in the rivers to go back and forth in the river with their supplies. And let's see. So,
Hey, why don't we get started?
okay.
So you're going to need aluminum foil and a bucket of water or a sink full of water. And you will need some kind of cargo, whether it's marbles, rocks, or pennies, little Lego people, whatever you have to use for cargo. Today we have pennies, rocks, and marbles.
Great. So, this is a pretty big piece of tinfoil here that I got. I'm not sure.
Should we cut it in half? What do you want to do?
We can hold it.
So we are going to start designing a boat.
So, we want the hull to be pretty big. So I'm just going to try to keep the hull big while folding up the sides. I thought of one way to do this actually at home, but I don't know if it would work. If you had a boat at home, you could almost mold it to the boat. If you had a boat at home, but this one's small, but it's a good size. So, and I'm trying to keep the bottom a little bit flat to hold the marbles, rocks, or the pennies. Do you want to that's going to come in the side.
All right,
So,
we're worried about our gunwale or our sides.
yep.
We want to make sure that the water does not come in to the boat and sink our ship.
Take your time, play with it.
Yours will probably look a little nicer than ours.
Oh, good. Good job, you guys.
All right, let's see. Let's see if it.
There we go.
Well, it
I don't know if
floats.
you can see that, but we've got it floating. So, thank you, Susan, for your help.
Teamwork.
All right. What do you think we should use first?
Let's try the rocks.
Let's try the rocks. Okay.
Let's see how many rocks we can fit into our boat without sinking it. Why don't you try the same with yours?
Whoops! I dropped one in the water.
One for the riverbed.
All right, here's 5. What would happen if I put them all on one side? I don't know if that would work. I would have to probably...
I think I would spread them out.
Okay. So put some on the sides, in the front, and the back, and the middle. So there's 5 so far.
Looking
Doesn't-
good.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to have done much difference. And some corn, well, sort of corners. We actually have corners in our boat.
Wow.
Wow. Let's see. 11. Here's 15. Wow.
Still standing strong.
Yep. And here's 20.
Uh-oh.
Here's 25 rocks so far.
And I see that it's now starting to sink a little bit.
Let's see. Let me get 30. There's 30. Wow, it's doing pretty good.
Wow.
Here's 35.
Huh, my age.
Well, we've gone way past that. Let's see. 40.
Ooh.
45. Wow, this is
Is your boat still afloat? Let us know.
How many rocks did it take for you? They all might be different sizes, but I think I said 45.
Yes.
All right, we're on the big 50.
And we're still going.
Okay. They're still building? Okay.
Okay.
55 rocks.
And we're still floating. I think we have some creative builders
Gwen?
out there.
Very good, you guys.
What did he say?
Liam and Gwen, but I don't have their names on
Leah
here.
and, here, Leah and Gwendolyn.
Leah and Gwendolyn.
All right, time to start testing then.
I think that was 55. Here's 60.
Wow.
65. Maybe, do you think we'll make it to 100? Leah and Gwen.
Leah and Gwen are floating their boats.
Wow.
Are
good
they starting to
job.
fill them up? Awesome. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Try again.
Ours is,
Revise your design.
yep, you can, yep, empty it and try some other materials. We're on 80. Oh, I see on the sides is starting to get really close.
Uh-oh, right here.
Yep.
I see a problem
I'm going to
with our
try
design.
to put some rocks on the opposite side. Yay!
Nice.
85. We're hoping to make 100. You guys can, these are really small rocks from my daughter Mariah's collection here. 85. Here's 90.
Uh-oh.
We might make 100.
I don't know. I got my
95.
fingers crossed. Uh-oh.
Oh,
Oh,
not
90
quite
no.
100. 95, and it sunk.
That was pretty good.
All right, we'll dump these out, and we can try some marbles. Or pennies. Let's do pennies.
All right, we'll Oh.
Good job.
How are your boats floating,
right.
Myra and Raylan?
Our boat's emptied, and we're going to start with pennies,
All right.
if we have enough.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
This boat might be not the same size as you guys at home.
16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. I'm starting to see it sink a little. Maybe the coins weigh more than the stones.
There's 45. 50.
55. 60. We're up to 60.
65.
70. We still can't buy anything.
75. Not even an ice cream cone, right? Maybe an itty bitty one. I bet you could get 100 of those marshmallows if you had any left.
Oh, yeah. 83 pennies, and we're out, and we're still floating.
There we go. That's good. How you guys doing at home? Good job.
All right. Okay.
Feel free to get your neighbors wet. This is a nice pirate ship.
Awesome.
Very good. And the other reason for boats is for travel.
Or just to have fun.
Yep. Whale watches, or to go, go fishing.
Fishing.
Yeah. We can,
Give us a thumbs up. How many of you have ridden in a boat or own a boat? Give us a thumbs up.
or even a raft. Yep. Different types of rafts. Yep.
Kayak.
Yep. Kayaks,
Yep.
canoes. All those are great, great boats.
All right. Well, that's all we have for tonight. I hope you enjoyed Float Your Boat.
We can't wait to see pictures.
Yep. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great night.
Thank you. Bye, kids.
You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand and it gives light. Yeah, it gives light. Instead, they put it on its stand and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine. Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds. See your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be
Well, welcome to day 3 of our virtual VBS Bible adventures. I am beginning to get used to this new way of telling you the Bible story. It's not as exciting as when we can act the story out together, but it certainly is better than no VBS story at all. I'm so glad you've joined me for our next story of faith in God. Let's do a quick review first. Remember oxygen? You can't see it, hear it, touch it, taste it, or smell it, but we all know it's there. Scientists have shown that we could not be here without it. That's what faith is. You know God is there, even if you can't see him. You have faith in God. You believe in him. And even though you can't see him, you can see the marvelous things he does. You can see breathtaking sunsets or gorgeous rainbows after a storm. Remember what that means? You can hear the birds singing. You can touch the faces of people you love. Well, not right now maybe, but because of the coronavirus, but that will get better as time goes by. You can taste ice cream and delicious meals. You can smell a rose or bread baking. These are all gifts from God, and he means for us to enjoy them and thank him. Okay, on day 1, we met Noah, a man who had faith in God, even though God asked him to do the impossible, build that crazy, huge ark and fill it with all kinds of animals. But because Noah had faith in God and obeyed him, he and his family and all those animals survived a terrible flood. Yesterday, we met Deborah, a woman chosen by God for a very important job. She lived in a time when women were not supposed to speak up if they had ideas or opinions. But she did not let that stop her from becoming a wise judge in Israel. She believed that God would tell her what to do and what to say, and she saved her people from the misery of living under the rule of a cruel and nasty king. By the way, I did not have a chance yesterday to tell you that the name Deborah means bee. What a perfect name for her. She was always as busy as a bee, and her message to her people was like a bee. She reminded them that if they were faithful to God, their lives would be sweet like honey, and God would help them deal with any troubles that came their way. But if they were not faithful, they would feel the sting of their enemies. After Deborah, Jael, and Barak conquered the enemies of Israel because they obeyed and had faith in God, Israel had 40 years of peace and happiness. But they just seemed unable to keep God's laws. And once again, they started worshiping idols and doing wicked deeds. They just went around in circles. First, obey God and prosper. Then, begin worshiping idols and doing sinful things. Then, a nasty enemy would conquer them, and their lives would be miserable. Then they cry out to God, and God would send a leader, a judge, to help them. They would be victorious and have peace for a while. But then it would start all over again. Well, it started over again after the 40 years of peace with Deborah as a judge. Once again, God's people started worshiping idols. Once again, they were conquered by a wicked enemy. Once again, they realized their sins and cried out to God. And once again, God sent them a judge to save them. That is today's Bible story of faith. Hello, my name is Gideon. I'm whispering to you and hiding here in this cave because I'm afraid of the Midianites. The Midianites are fearful warriors who have conquered my people, and for 7 years they have made our lives miserable. Their favorite thing to do is to wait until we have all our crops harvested, then swoop in with their swords and steal or destroy all our food supplies. They are like a plague of locusts. As if that's not bad enough, they also steal our livestock, our cows and sheep and goats, our chickens and donkeys, and anything else they can find. We are so terrorized by the Midianites that we have left our homes and are hiding here in the mountains, mostly in caves. My people cried out to God for help, and he sent a prophet to tell us that we had, once again, sinned greatly against our God. We were worshiping the fake gods of the people who lived all around us. My own father has an idol of the god Baal on his land and an altar to Baal where he worships and makes sacrifices to this fake god of stone. I don't know what he's thinking. One day, I was down in this hole where we keep our wine press hidden from the Midianites. I wasn't making wine. I was threshing. Threshing is what you do when you want to get the nice grains of wheat out of the stalks of wheat. You have to hit them. So I'm down here I was down here in this hole, and I'm flailing away at my wheat. What little wheat we had after the Midianites came through. We were able to save some so that we could have some flour to make bread. Every time I heard a strange sound, I'd look around, frightened that a Midianite soldier had discovered my secret threshing place. Suddenly, this person came and sat down near me. He said the oddest thing to me. He said, "The Lord is with you, mighty warrior." I looked around. He couldn't possibly be talking to me. I am no warrior, especially not a mighty one. And as for the Lord being with me, I didn't see any evidence of that. I was hiding out, threshing wheat in secret, and shaking in my boots, for crying out loud. I tried to be polite. I said, "Pardon me, sir, but if the Lord is with us, why do our enemies steal all our food and our livestock and keep us constantly in terror of attack?" Then what the man said next really blew me away. He told me that I was to save Israel from the Midianites with just the strength that I had. Now I was really skeptical. This had to be a scam of some sort. After all, I am from a very weak family, and I am the weakest of all in the weak family. I don't have the strength or the courage to conquer anybody, much less the thousands of Midianite soldiers that terrorize us every day. The man kept insisting that I was the one to save my people this time. He kept assuring me that the Lord was with me. But I was still thinking SCAM, scam. So I asked the man to give me a sign that he was real and not lying to me or trying to trick me. I went into my cave and I prepared a meal for him. Meat and bread and broth. I didn't have much, but I was willing to share it with him. I brought it out to him, and he told me to put the food on a rock. And then he touched it with his staff, the stick that he was carrying. You will not believe what happened next. Fire came shooting out of his staff and burned up every bit of that food. Then the man disappeared. And it was then that I realized I had been talking with the angel of the Lord. Wow. Oh. That very night, the Lord told me to tear down my father's altar to Baal and build a proper altar to the true God in its place. Then I offered a sacrifice to God there. The next morning, the people of the town were really angry when they discovered that the altar to Baal was gone, and they wanted to kill me. They came after me. But my father must have finally realized that our true God was with me. He told the people, "Let Baal deal with him. If Baal is really a god, he'll punish Gideon." Of course, nothing happened to me because Baal is not a real god. He's not the real God. I knew I was safe from Baal at least. Since God had told me I was to save Israel from the wicked Midianites, I called together a large army. But then I got cold feet. I still wasn't totally convinced that God would help us. My faith was not very strong. In fact, it was pretty weak. So I asked God for a sign that he was truly with me. I would put a wool fleece on the ground. I told God that if the fleece had dew on it and was wet in the morning, but the ground all around it was dry, I would know that God was with us. I was very anxious to see what would happen next morning, and sure enough, I was able to squeeze a bowl full of water from that fleece. But the ground all around it was bone dry. You would think that that would convince me. But my faith was still weak. I asked God for one more sign. This time, make the ground wet and the fleece stay dry. I was afraid that God might be angry with me for questioning him so much, but he gave me that sign too. The fleece was perfectly dry, but the ground all around it was soaking wet with dew. Then I knew that God was with me and with our army against those Midianites. But God was going to test my faith again. I had an army of 32,000 men. God said that was too many. Too many? Didn't God realize that the Midianites had even more soldiers than that? We needed every single man. But God said he wanted to show our people that it was not our own strength that won the battle, but God's strength through us. So I told the men, anyone who's scared to fight this battle may go home. I was kind of surprised when 22,000 of them left for home. And I had only 10,000 soldiers left. I was sure this was the army I would lead into battle. But God said, nope, there are still too many men. I couldn't believe my ears. But he told me to take them down to the river for a drink of water and watch them while they drank. 9,700 of those men got down on their knees and bent down and drank water out of the river. And God said, send those men home. Send home 9,700 men? Yes. That left me with the 300 men who cupped their hands, filled them with water, and lapped it out of their hands like a dog. Only 300 men against all those thousands of Midianites. I was losing faith again. So God told me to take my servant and sneak into the camp of the Midianites. When I got there, I spied on two men. They were talking with each other. One of them told the other one about a dream he had had. A round loaf of barley bread tumbled into the Midianite camp and overturned a tent. The other man said, "That has to be the sword of Gideon. Their God has promised to give him the victory over the Midianites." The sword of Gideon. That's all I needed to hear. I thanked God for helping me have faith. And then I gave each of my 300 men a trumpet and an empty jar or jug. At my signal, they were all to blow their horns and smash their jars. And then they were to yell, "For the Lord and for Gideon." So I gave the signal, and 300 men blew their trumpets and smashed their jars, and all that noise confused and frightened the Midianites, and they actually drew their swords on each other. The ones who were left all ran away. We had won. I, Gideon, a nobody really, the weakest man from the weakest family. Even my faith was weak. But God used me to win a fantastic victory over a stronger, better equipped, and very mean army, and bring peace to my people for another 40 years. Now we're come back to our own time, and I want to tell you that I really enjoyed telling you the story of Gideon. It's always been one of my very favorite Bible stories. That's because many times I feel like Gideon did. Sometimes my faith isn't strong, and I need to be reassured that God is with me. But he always lets me know that he is right here, even if I'm facing some hard times. Gideon's story helps me remember that. I hope it helps you too. See you tomorrow for another story of faith.
Light of the world, a town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. You are the light of the world, a town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand and it gives light. Yeah, it gives light. Instead, they put it on its stand and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine. Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds. See your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. You are the light of the world, a town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. You are the light of the world, a town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand and it gives light. Yeah, it gives light.
we're back with another Sink or Float, and tonight we have a cotton ball because you guys used these a couple of nights ago in night one for your egg drop, and then tinfoil because you used that tonight, and barbecue sauce. Because I like barbecue sauce, so why not? So tonight we're going to start with the cotton ball. And the cotton ball is kind of light, and it is solid, so it might sink, but it's also light, so it might just float. And remember, if you think it's going to sink, you sit down, and if you think it's going to float, you stand up. So let's see what happens. It sank. It absorbed water, I think. Yep, it absorbed a lot of water. All right, so now we're gonna do the tinfoil, and we're actually gonna try the tinfoil 2 different ways. We're gonna try it flat, like it is, and then we're gonna take it out, crumple it up, and so it's like a ball, and see if that changes how it happens. So let's see what happens with it being flat first. It floated. Now, let's see what happens when I make a ball out of it. I'm still working on getting it into a ball. All right. Everybody ready? Let's find out what happens. It still floated. That's surprising to me. Hope you guys are doing good with your guessing. All right, now the barbecue sauce. And the barbecue sauce is thick, so it might sink, but it's also sort of I'm spacing on the word. Anyway, it could float because it doesn't want to react well with the water. We can find out, though. So you go ahead and decide, and I'm going to let it apparently come out of the bottle. I think they've learned from the others. All right. So tonight we had 2 sink and 1 float. So we're definitely getting interesting reviews from the objects, and some not what I would have picked. But tomorrow night we will have 3 new items, and I'm excited to see what happens with those.
Interesting, all the liquids have sunk.
Yeah,
Jam, maple syrup, and barbecue sauce.
that is interesting that so far all the liquids have sunk, and maybe we have 1 more liquid, I believe. And so we'll see if that changes and decides to float instead of sink like the rest. But I will see you all tomorrow.
of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand and it gives light. Yeah, it gives light. Instead, they put it on its stand and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine. Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds. See your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand and it gives light. Yeah, it gives light. Instead, they put it on its stand and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine. Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds. See your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. Let your light shine. Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds. See your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven.
Welcome back to the wrap up with Anastasia and I. I just lost my bun for a moment, so I apologize for this 1 second delay. But we are going to get up and dance to that song. So stand up.
You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand and it gives light. Yeah, it gives light. Instead, they put it on its stand and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine. Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds. See your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. You are the light of the world. built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand and it gives light. Yeah, it gives light. Instead, they put it on its stand and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine. Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds. See your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. Let your light shine. Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds. See your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven.
Woo! Thank you guys so much. Feel free to take a seat while we go over what we did today for influence. In the scientific experiments, I heard you all made some boats out of tinfoil, and you put in some pebbles, about 95 pebbles before it sank. And I heard that Eyedropper Debbie and Cylinder Sue ran out of coins before their boats sank, but some of your boats weren't as lucky. And that's okay. Feel free again, just like the egg drop, to try them some other time with the boats. And then Volumetric Vicky introduced you to Gideon, and he was a meek, shy man in his village from a quiet family. But God called him to take on a large battle with only 300 other people, and they won by blowing their trumpets nice and loud. I don't have a trumpet to blow. And then with Syringe Sarah, you saw the cotton ball sink and the barbecue sauce sink, but no matter how you had your tinfoil, whether it was crumpled in a ball or flat, it floated. Amazing science. And our Bible verse from today comes from Matthew 5:16, and it's, "Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." So again, as we wrap up tonight, we would really love for you to keep sharing your God sightings, different ways you see God tonight and through the next day, just before 5:30 p.m., so I can be sure to share them on here, because we got a long way to go with our beaker flask scientific instrument beautiful thing that Anastasia is holding for me. But it's so colorful and beautiful, so thank you for all that you are sending in, but please keep sharing. And we are still doing our kid-to-kid mission as well, as we've been introducing all week. Family Promise helps families on the North Shore who are experiencing homelessness. And right now, they usually have them housed in churches, but that's difficult with keeping everyone safe during COVID. And so we are looking to help them out financially instead, if you're able to hopefully help around the house and earn that money, not just asking for $20 and donating it on our website. Also, I keep saying $20, but it doesn't need to be that. Any amount is very helpful, and they appreciate all amounts of donations. You can do that on our website. Any pictures or videos you may have taken tonight, please email them to us. We love to see them, because we want to see what you all are doing. It makes our days when we see those videos and those photos, and we get so excited to see those. So email us, fccoevbs2020@gmail.com. Also, we are going to work together a slideshow of some sort. More information on that later. If you have any prayer requests as well, I'll gladly share those, even if it's just anonymous and privately. That's fine too. And last night's skit, we recognize that for our people that are watching it live, there may have been some technical difficulties and you didn't see us for a bit. But it did record, and so we were able to post it onto FCCOE's Facebook page. You don't need to have a Facebook because we are a public Facebook page. If you just go to facebook.com/First Congregational Church of Essex, it'll be posted as VBS Day 2. You can see our skit of Anastasia trying all my wonderful sodas. It is also on our website at fccoe.org on the VBS page, if you're more comfortable going there. Either way, I do hope you get to see Anastasia trying all of my wonderful sodas. And I think that is everything. So I'm just going to ask you again, I'm going to fold my hands, and close my eyes. And if you can just take a moment to be quiet while we say a prayer to close the night. Dear God, thank you for all of these children and all of their bright light that they get to shine in the darkness of this world. I pray that you show them how best to influence and guide others with their light through the dark times that many are experiencing right now. Pray that you find their best ways to show your good deeds through them so that they can help others and bring people to glorify you with us. I pray that you keep us all safe and able to come back and have a great time tomorrow night. In your name we pray, amen. Thank you all so much and have a great night. Either?
Made him who had no sin to be sin for us. God made him who had no sin to be sin for us, so that in him we might become, the righteousness of God. 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 God made him who had no sin to be sin for us. God made him who had no sin to be sin for us, so that in him we might become, the righteousness of God. 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 The righteousness